DCKO #1 just came out this week. This is the first issue from DC's new big event. This is the big fighting tournament that they've been teasing, where you'll see DC heroes fight other heroes, villains will be in the mix, and Darkseid's behind it all. And we get some stuff from the Absolute Universe, and it's just this big event that they've been teasing for a while now. And the first part of it is finally out, and I did like it. Overall, I enjoyed it, but there are some problems I have with it. There were some worries I had going in, and then reading it, some of those worries came to light. But overall, I would say it's worth it, and I liked it. And that's all I'll say before getting into spoilers. So if you have not read the comic, spoiler warning, I'm going to be getting into it and spoiling it. So let's get into it. The issue opens up with what you saw in the preview. DC's been putting this preview in like all of their comics for the past little bit now. It's their in-house preview where Diana, Clark, and Bruce are all playing a board game, and then you see Darkseid shows up, and they all go fight Darkseid, and things go bad. Then we go and we see that they're on the Watchtower, and Time Trapper, who is a different version of Doomsday, that if you've been reading Joshua Williamson Superman, you know who he is. He's there, and he's talking to the Justice League along with the rest of these like different heroes that have that are involved with all this, or not even just heroes. You have Grodd, you have Booster Gold. They're called like the Quantum Quorum now is what they're calling themselves. But anyways, the Time Trapper's the main one that's talking to him, and he tells him, he pulls a Doctor Strange. He's like, I've seen all these futures and in this timeline, and no matter what you guys do, no matter what billions of different things you try, Darkseid wins. And they're like, the only way to avoid this, because Darkseid's coming, he's coming back, things are going to be bad. The only way to avoid this is to pull a New 52. We need to pull a Flashpoint. We need to reset the timeline. And the heroes are like, I don't know if I want to do that, because if we do
I said doo-doo.
that, then aren't we just going to completely change? We won't remember anything. We won't be ourselves. And if that's the case, then what is even the point? Because you're fighting for something entirely different. You're not even fighting for yourselves. You're not even fighting for who you are. Everything will be erased. And they're talking about, even Nightwing points it out, was like, last time that didn't go so well. We didn't really like it. And so they nix that idea instantly. And then this is where the book goes downhill for a bit. So the first two, because it's broken up into chapters, the first two chapters are not too great. The art throughout is good, but even the art improves in chapter 3 because Javi Fernandez gets something to do. Javi Fernandez is a great artist. I really liked what he was doing on Batman and Robin with Philip Kennedy Johnson. I loved his work on there. And this, he does a great job, especially once the action starts happening. He does a good job throughout the book, but once the action starts happening, that's when you really get his creative panel layouts, and he really gets to go to town, and things look awesome. I thought he did a great job in this issue. But again, the first two chapters of this book, it's a lot of Snyder cosmic gobbledygook, and it's just, you can kind of just skip it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really make sense. If you think too hard about it, things start to fall apart, and it's just not very good. And it's one of the problems I had with Dark Knight's Death Metal. I thought the first metal was fine. I didn't love it or hate it. It was just meh. Dark Knight's Death Metal was terrible, and a big problem with it was Snyder's cosmic gobbledygook, where you have all this stupid crap where it's like, oh, we got dark matter, and we've got this type of energy, we got this, and we got to get this type of energy. And then at the end of it all, Wonder Woman's become really big, and she's gonna fight the Batman Who Laughs, who's also really big, but also he's like absorbed Dr. Manhattan, and they're gonna fight in like the sun, and it's just like, what the hell are we even doing? And that's what was my worry with this event, because I think Scott Snyder is killing it right now on Absolute Batman. I love what he's doing, but he gets too big for his britches with events. He tries to do these crazy things, and he tries to go bigger with everyone. It's like, no, don't do that. And I've talked about this before in videos. I think the problem with this stemmed from Endgame. I personally loved Batman Endgame. I thought Snyder stuck the landing with that. But that was kind of the beginning of the end, because once he stuck the landing on that, because Endgame was a crazy, crazy comic. What he did there with Batman, that was nuts. All that, like making Joker immortal and placing him in all these different things he did. And I thought he hit all the story beats, and I really liked it. But after that, he's like, man, I went so crazy and I nailed that. I can just do that every time, but bigger and better. And then he proceeded to not do bigger and better with each one. So that was my problem with Snyder, and that was my worry with this. It's like, he's going to go crazy. He's going to do the cosmic stuff. And I was hoping he could rein some of that in and just give us a fun, punchy superhero event. And the latter half of this book kind of delivers on that. But the first two chapters are very much Snyder just doing his Snyder thing of just like, here's all this crazy stuff. And it's just like, almost taking a nap through it. Like, I don't care about any of this cosmic gobbledygook. Give me to the fun stuff. So once you get past that, it gets good. But essentially what they tell them is there's like alpha and omega energy, and like the Absolute Universe is based on omega energy, and our universe is based on alpha energy. But there's also a Heart of Apocalypse in Earth, and you have to go and use that Heart of Apocalypse in order to become a King Omega, which is what Darkseid is in the Absolute Universe, in order to match Darkseid to fight him. And they're like, oh, we could do that. And to do that, you have to put in like a certain type of energy to restart it. And when that happens, they're going to, the things like automatic defense mechanism is going to create this tournament that is the KO event that we're going to be going through. And it's hilarious because when Time Trappers explains this, he's like, according to my hypothesis or something like that. And then he explains exactly how everything's going to go. And it's like, what do you mean, like, according to your calculations or hypothesis or what you think? It's like, you just know all this. Like, this isn't just, it's crazy. But again, you're best off just ignoring that stuff. It's not very well written or interesting. But anyways, they propose that idea, and everyone is generally for it except Superman. Superman's like, I don't want to do that because we have to fight to the death in there, and I don't think that's a good idea. And also, what if villains get in there? What if Joker gets in there and wins? And even heroes could potentially do bad things because they're like, whoever wins becomes the King Omega and can essentially shape things in the mainline DC universe as they want it. They're going to be the one god, and so that presents problems. Superman's not with it, but Diana and Bruce kind of convince him, like, this is basically our only shot, and think about it, this is the way we can all win. This is the only way forward, really. This is our only choice. So they convince him, and Superman goes, but they have a week. They say they have a week until they're going to go and do this, until Darkseid shows up, and they're going to do it like the day of or the day before Darkseid shows up. And also, the Quantum Quorum is going to use their time abilities to slow down time, so Darkseid is slowed down before he comes in while they're doing the tournament. And so they're like, okay, what about the villains? We got to make sure the villains don't get in there. So they're like, every villain, I believe they said level 6 or higher, we're going to send these modified T-spheres from Mr. Terrific that can send them to the Phantom Zone. Because they talk about how, like, the past year or whatever, Clark has revamped the Phantom Zone. So now you can kind of put people in there and it'll be okay. It's not as bad. Because this Phantom Zone was never a great place. It's not a good place you want to put people. It's just, when you have people the power level of Superman, you can kind of throw them in there like they did with Zod. But it's not ideal. So that's why they didn't throw everyone in there before. But now they're like, we've got it modified to where it's not like this hellscape, so we can put people in there. So they put all the level 6 in there. They put Lex Luthor and Joker and all this. But it seems kind of, again, this is another one of the kind of stupid things of it. It's like, you can just send a modified T-spheres and it just puts them all in the Phantom Zone. Like, it's that easy now. I feel like that kind of creates problems for the future, because then it's like, oh no, Joker's out there killing people and he's holed up in this building. It's like, hey, Mr. Terrific, can you send one of those Phantom Zone T-spheres? All right, got it. And he just sends them and the Joker's taken care of, It feels like that could create problems, but who knows? Maybe they solve that later because these guys get out, spoiler alert. But also it feels like Lex sees it and he gets mad and he's like, you think you could do this to me? And as a reader, I'm thinking, you think just sending a T-sphere would stop Lex? You think Lex would just be like, all right, send me to the Phantom Zone? You think Lex wouldn't have some type of precautions to stop that from happening? But anyways, they do that, and then then we get to, I believe, day 4. They're like, everyone's spending time with their family, and this part made me a little sad because we see Superman walking through the park in Metropolis with Lois and Kara and John, and it's like, man, Oso and Othel would have been cool to see here. Those are the 2 children that Clark and Lois adopted from Warworld during Philip Kennedy Johnson's run, and they're currently in the Book of El, and Adventures of Superman Book of El, which is great. You should read it. And it's sad that Philip Kennedy Johnson uses these characters because I like them a lot, and they fill the hole that John left when he got aged up. So it's like he's spending time with his family before he leaves, except his 2 young kids that just aren't there. That makes me sad. Everyone else acts like they don't exist, but they're really great characters. And then we get further in the week, and everyone grabs their weapons or items that they're going to be using in there. Like, Batman grabs his Justice Buster 2 armor, which looks really stupid. I don't understand why they chose this wank-ass freaking thing for Batman to use. Like, he's had other armors, other Justice Busters even, that are really cool looking, and this one just looks like he had about 10 seconds to whip it up and just a few scraps, Like, it didn't feel like what he would really choose. It felt kind of weird, and even later stuff happens with it. Doesn't make sense. But anyways, Wonder Woman chooses like her God Killer armor, and Superman chooses the Knuckle Dusters with suns in them that we've seen throughout the promotion for this. And then they go. Booster Gold does his thing. They get to the center of the Earth where it is. It opens up, and they get to the first part of it. And the narration talks about how there's over 100 heroes there, and some of them don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, Harley Quinn is there. It's kind of like, why would you allow Harley Quinn to show up? Why would you bring her there? I know she's not a bad guy now, but still, would you want Harley to have, if she won, to have the power to do all this? That doesn't make sense. Like, there are some people that show up there where it's like, if I'm Superman or Wonder Woman or Flash, I'm instantly knocking them out. like before we even get going. Because when they get there, they talk to these big like Goliath things, and they're like, all right, everyone line up, and then once everyone's ready, we're gonna start this, and you have to get to the gauntlet. And if you get to the gauntlet before the time, 32 people can get to the gauntlet, and then it cuts off. So there's 32 max participants, but once you get there, it's like, first come, first serve. So everyone starts running. Well, actually, first they're like, at the drop of this hell mace, because there's these giant Goliaths, they're like, at the drop of this hell mace, the race to the gauntlet starts. They drop it on Billy Batson. It was kind of a funny moment, but also kind of like, why is Billy Batson not Shazam right now? Why did he come here as Billy Batson? Like, why wouldn't he just, be be Shazam before he goes in there? That didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was kind of funny that Billy Batson just got a hell mace dropped on him. He's about to transform and just boom. And then you see people dying left and right. They talk about it as if it's like a game board, and like different pieces or different parts of the tile on the game board are booby trapped. So you see different people just falling in the traps and dying. Everyone's getting slaughtered. And this is the part I love, because Javi Fernandez gets to go buck wild. Everything looks amazing. And also, we get a really good job of characterization with Superman from Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder does a great job here. And this is something that I was a little worried about, because Scott Snyder is a great Batman writer. I've never loved his Superman. He's done some good stuff with him. Superman Unchained was okay. It had some good moments. He had a great arc in his Justice League run with the Sixth Dimension, but also I believe Jorge Jimenez was like given co-writer credit on that, if I remember correctly. And he's a big Superman fan, so I kind of credit him with a little bit of that as well. But that was the best I think Snyder's written Superman. But outside of that, most of the time he writes Superman, it's fine. So I wasn't sure how he would do with a Superman-centric event. But he does a great job here. I love it, because in this, everyone's racing, even Wonder Woman. Like, everyone's trying to make it to the finish to be one of the 32 participants. And Superman's protecting everyone. Superman's trying to protect them from all these different things that are going on to make sure people can make it. And it's like in the narration, the narrator's like, yeah, he thinks he's really, doing what he can to get there, but he's intrinsically protecting everyone. And I really like that. And also something I really like is how Batman is handled here. Because the whole time you can tell Batman believes that Superman is humanity's best shot at going forward to defeat Darkseid. And he's like, Superman, get your damn head in the game. Go, stop protecting all these people. Like, he's trying to tell him. And I love that, because I think Superman and Batman are best when they function as best friends. I love what Jeff Loeb did with them in the Superman Batman series in the early 2000s. I love that dynamic, and I think that is peak Superman Batman dynamic. I love it. And so I love it here, where Batman's like seeing his friend and knowing that he is like the hope for humanity, is like, go, stop doing this. I was thinking of Spider-Man 2, the freaking Indian guy at Joe's Pizza, go. But anyways, but he's like telling him to do it. And then in the middle of that, Batman gets stabbed through by Joker. So again, this armor sucks ass if Joker can just stab straight through it. That seems kind of like bad armor if your main nemesis can stab through it easily. But Batman gets stabbed, and that was the big whoa moment, because Batman was on the bracket that was revealed, and so it seemed like he was going to be in this. But also, Batman had announced that he was getting a series written by Joshua Williamson, where he's going to be fighting all these different like what-if versions of Robin's becoming Batman. So it's kind of like, how's he part of that tournament, but also then fighting these Batmans that aren't a part of the tournament? How's that work? And it's like, oh, he's not actually part of the tournament, because everyone else in the bracket is the same as we saw that was revealed, except Joker takes Batman's place in this bracket. But the villains show up, and I get why you can't take care of like Giganta or Cheetah or Lex instantly, but if I'm Superman, I'm knocking out Joker instantly. He's not wearing anything special. He's got nothing special. I'm super speed and punching him in the face. He's knocked out. That takes care of one guy that we don't have to worry about, but he doesn't do that. But anyways, he protects as many people as he can. A lot of people get in there, and then Superman gets in at the last, right before he's the last one. So he's the 32nd guy who gets in there. And then we get the end of the book, where it's revealed that the Heart of Apocalypse was the narrator the whole time. It's been talking about what's been going on. So we've been seeing its perspective on Superman, which was interesting. We get a little tease of the Absolute Trinity. We see them in the shadows, so that's interesting. Seeing like, oh, are they going to be part of this fight that's going to be happening? Because it's talked about how it's not just, okay, here's this bracket, everything's a 1v1, everything's fair. It's like, no, everything's different. There's a lot of curveballs that are going to be thrown there. And also it talks about how like the final one, you're going to be going against the Heart of Apocalypse itself. So is that heart going to like pull over the Trinity from the Absolute Universe or something? Or are they going to be thrown in there somewhere in the gauntlet randomly? Who knows? But it does show them. And then at the very end, we get a big like reveal, which is that Darkseid has is in Booster Gold. Like Darkseid has been undercover this whole time, and we see that because there's like Darkseid has taken the form of one of you, and then we see that the Omega symbols in Booster Gold's eyes. Because remember, Booster was trapped in the Absolute Universe and tortured by like Darkseid and the Legion of Superheroes, that Dark Legion of Superheroes, for years. That's why he's all scrawny and not in good shape right now. And that was the end of the issue. So overall, I did like it. Once we got to chapter 3, it got really good. Chapter 1 is not too great, and chapter 2 is a little better, but it's mainly once we get past all the cosmic crap, all the stupid, oh, there's this type of energy and that type of energy, and we gotta do this, blah, 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 and like, just come on. You can even, I feel kind of like Javi Fernandez represented the audience well, where it seems like he was kind of bored at first, and then once we get to the cool stuff, the reason you paid for the issue, then we get to like, oh yeah, this is where it rules. And I liked his characterization of Superman throughout. I thought he did a good job with that. I liked what he did with Batman. I like the little curveball there. I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm excited for the next issue. I'm excited for us to finally get in the meat and potatoes of it with the fights. But I will say, for this being a setup issue, with it being the first issue, obviously it's going to be so, they did a pretty good job with it, and I liked it. It's got me the most hyped for a DC event in a while, because DC's events have been bad since Doomsday Clock was the last good one. I know a lot of people are mixing Doomsday Clock. I personally really liked it, but since Doomsday Clock, we haven't had a good DC line-wide event. We have not had a big, good DC event. They've all been really bad. But this one, first issue's good, and I think it's only up from here. It's just at the end, I think, is what I'm worried about. I feel like the middle of it's going to be end, because I believe it's 5 issues. First issue is pretty good. I think 3 and 4 are going to be good. I think 2, 3, and 4 are going to be good. And then 5 is where I'm like, I don't know, because it seems like we're going to get a Dark Knight's Death Metal ending where it's like, what if the two of them got all these stupid energies and became really big and fought each other? It's like, well, that doesn't sound as interesting. I don't think they have to be giant King Omega people, but who knows? We'll see. I'll withhold judgment until we get there. But I am excited. I'm actually hyped for this event. I'm just hoping Scott Snyder got that out of his system with the first part of this book. And now he's like, now I can focus on just super fun, like throwing action figures together. Because that's what this event should be. This is the middle part of this new All In, because we had the beginning of All In, which was the start of all this. That was the first big event where Darkseid killed himself, essentially, with the Justice League and then created the Absolute Universe. This is supposed to be the middle event, they're saying. And then I think next year we're supposed to have like the big, like, third part, the finale big event. That's what I believe. And so this one doesn't need to be like the super deep, like we're getting into the weeds and everything. This could be like the super fun blockbuster one. And I hope that's the case. But yeah, that's what I thought of it. If you read it, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What'd you think about it? I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.